Welcome back to 5 Acres Honey Farm. I'm Tara Lynn, and in an earlier video I took you along on a little stroll around our new property where I kind of talked about some kind of potential ideas for using it. And as you can tell by the title of this video, one of my experiments is to develop a permaculture Christmas tree farm throughout the property. So unlike your monoculture Christmas tree farms where you have a cleared, either a clear-cut space or a pasture that's been turned into row upon row of the Christmas tree specimens, instead I'll be implementing some permaculture practices to site Fraser firs in areas where they would naturally appear. So before I do that, I am going to be observing the property through the next few seasons. So I got a chance to take a peek around during winter before all the leaves came out. And now we're in prime time of spring. So the trees that I was questioning, like, is this a maple or not? Now I can actually tell because I'm not the best at identifying trees without their leaves on them. The other thing that I'm doing now that the leaves are out, you okay? You got a good stick? That's awesome. Is I am looking for areas similar to what you see right around here where there's this dappled light at various times of the day. So those are a little bit more attractive because I know that there is going to be a little bit more sun exposure through the foliage, so that can help in the growth of the fir. Just laughing at the pup because he's finding like the biggest branches to carry around for his sticks. My friend sent me a video of a golden retriever that has been trained to like pick oranges with a basket. So knowing how much Indy loves carrying these sticks around, I'm really tempted to train him to carry a basket. So that's one of the things I'll be working on too. But I'm going to take a walk around and just point out different things that I'm looking for in these potential sites for the future fir transplants. So that's one thing that I'm looking for, is that dappled sunlight. Are you going to get it? He always makes me nervous when he gets these branches, with all these side branches, that he's just going to grab it really fast and one's just going to go straight in his eye. Just a worried mom. I'm a worried mom. All right, let's keep going. Come on. Crazy cuckoo. Boy. It's been so good. So the other things that I'm looking for, and you can kind of see like this sloped area, it doesn't have a tremendous amount of like understory grown in it. Good boy, stay with mama. So there's not a lot of understory here yet. So that would allow some great opportunity for the fir to get established. The other thing that I see, and you can see a bit of the white flowers if I look up a little bit here. Actually, I noticed there's a little, that should give it a little bit better. There's a little bit of a coverage of the camera there. So you can kind of see that there's some white flowers blooming back up here and all through here. So that's the mountain laurel, and you can kind of see also there's rhododendron all along here. So the mountain laurel are a great indicator species of acidic soil, which Fraser fir do prefer. They're also typically found in the understory of chestnut oak and maple. So there are several maple throughout here and oak as well. So, sorry, I thought I heard something, but it was just, it's been raining a lot, so there's like a lot of water still coming down. So like that would be an area where I would be selecting some areas in between the laurel where I could interplant the fir and allow them to establish in there. And one of the other things that I'd be doing too is, like, because this is a nice sloped area with not too much understory, is to maybe do some mild terracing in here to allow the roots to get established a bit more. Are you finding some good stuff in that mud? It also looks like, I'm not sure what caused it, but like this rhododendron right here, it looks like it's freshly been fallen over. So I'm not sure if that was caused by wildlife. We've also had some crazy rainstorms the past few days. One day we got over 4 inches of rain. But this is the Southern Appalachia temperate rainforest, so it's very common for a lot of rain, which is actually something that Fraser fir really like. And on that topic of moisture, so we've got the the mountain stream coming through right down here. So although we do get a lot of rain, there really won't be a need for irrigation, but should there be a need that would come up, it would be feasible to do some gravity-fed irrigation up through this area, whether manual or kind of gravity feeding from up higher and then through this space and over. The other thing is that this stream, because it's constantly running, there's a lot of evaporation, fog comes through and settles through here, and that's exactly what the Fraser fir like, so having that kind of humid atmosphere. One thing that I neglected to mention, I've mentioned in the earlier video about the property, it's ranging from about 2,200 feet to about 2,600 feet in elevation. So ideally, Fraser fir are going to be above 3,500 feet. They really do like that higher elevation and cooler temperatures, but just gonna make do with what we have. And there are plenty of Christmas tree farms across North Carolina, much closer to sea level. So I feel like this is an even better habitat than that for them. So I feel like not so bad in that sense. And this is another site here. So this is a bit of a slope. So Fraser fir are good at, just keeping an eye on the pup, are good at establishing some soil structure and erosion control. So although there's not like a tremendous erosion issue here, thinking with an eye for the future and setting it up for an area where it's going to be able to actually do some work, because that's kind of like part of looking at from a permaculture lens is like what problems are there, and you can really look around and see this slope as a problem. So it's not going to solve the slope, but it's going to help create a environment where there's better soil structure so that you'll have fewer problems in the future. And so another permaculture practice is, sorry that I'm not like paying attention here, trying to watch the pup, is coppicing, which is instead of with a typical Christmas tree farm where you're going to just clear cut the tree and you've got your single harvest after potentially 7 to 10 years to come to maturity. Instead, you would cut the tree and then allow it to regrow. So you could get potentially 2 more trees out of it over a much longer period of time. But you get the benefit of having that rootstock that's already adapted to the climate, and then it allows for multiple harvests. So, thinking of that practice, you'd get longer term use out of the roots in the soil structure here. The other thing that I've been researching are companion plants. So I kind of mentioned the more of the upper story canopy of the forest where Fraser firs are typically found. But thinking of the understory, you've got blueberries, elderberries, and then some woodland botanicals like black cohosh, ginseng, golden seal. Those all are great companions for Fraser fir. So I did read, and he's just staring at me. He is so cute. We'll just like hear this. He's right up there being a very good boy. So I did read that if you were planning to do some annual crops, that you could do pumpkins, tomatoes, and some brassicas like cauliflower and broccoli in between the Fraser fir. I really only, since these are going to be like low labor areas that I don't plan on accessing too frequently, I don't want to put anything that I would need to be maintaining, harvesting, or protecting from the wildlife. So, so I'm looking to just introduce native species that would just kind of harmoniously work out well together out here. So that's a little bit more about some companions, some potential sites. The other thing with the slope here is you can see like there's a small understory, but this would be an area that would be fairly simple to clear. So to remove that competition, and just behind it there are mountain laurel and rhododendron, and then I think we've got a maple over here too. So definitely have some chestnut oak right up here. So all of that is like great little indicators for what the Fraser fir prefer. Just chat as I walk through here. So there are some, challenges with growing Fraser fir other than it not being the ideal elevation for them. There's also a challenge of some fungal and some pest issues that can get established. So that's just something that I'll just keep an eye out for. And also, since this is an experiment, I'm planning on, planting a certain quantity, testing and learning before going to the labor and expense of doing larger quantities. So I did find a few different sources where I can order some Fraser for seedlings, and I'm planning on ordering several different ages. So like I mentioned, it takes about 7 to 10 years for the Fraser to mature, for harvest, for your typical Christmas tree. And good boy. And so what, I'm looking at getting ages, from like the oldest would be like a 5-year sapling. So the earliest that I'd be able to harvest would be 2 years from now. So I figured at the very least, if it's not such a great experiment, and if the trees are struggling, then at least we'll have a Christmas tree or two that we could have for ourselves, if they don't like die or something terrible. But the others would be younger, so that would be setting it up for potential like succession harvests and succession plantings. And part of such a huge stick, this guy, he's crazy, big stick. So this would be setting it up so that if they are thriving, then I can continue to order various ages, and then just identify like which of the sites they are doing really well in, and then just really kind of focusing on those areas, and then the areas that aren't doing as well, I can kind of abandon them and find some different sites to test out, and just kind of keep learning from it. And I don't know about you, but like, having gardened now for 5 years, and I'm coming up in the next week or so, be coming up on my 7-year beekeeping anniversary. You just like, there's some things that like, oh, if I would have just done that in my first year, the time's gonna pass anyway. Like an example is like planting asparagus. Like if I would have planted asparagus in my first year of gardening, I'd be swimming in asparagus right now, and it would have been minimal labor. I just planted asparagus crowns last year for the first time. I started asparagus from seed 2 years ago, and it's just like, I could have done this and I would have had it already. So since we just acquired this property, not even 6 months ago, like I have that mentality right now where it's like, what could we be doing that we can kind of get in place and learn from, so that 5 years from now we're not like, oh, wouldn't it have been nice if we tried that? You'd already have kind of learned something from then. So come on, Baba. So yeah, so that's my thoughts on it. And I know that this isn't really a set it and forget it kind of project and experiment. With Christmas trees, there is in different seasons, like shaping the tree and caring for it. And we may potentially need to do some wildlife, protection, because we do have a strong deer population back up in the woods. But that's just all stuff that we'll have to learn. So yeah, let me know your thoughts if you've tried growing your own Christmas trees before, what kind of climate that's been in, successes, failures. And as I receive the seedlings in the fall and get them transplanted, I do need to actually like manually mark the different sites. Right now they're just kind of in my head and I kind of know how to get to them, but I really do need to like physically mark them and do some GPS coordinates and things like that, just so I don't miss out on them. But I'll keep sharing some more, and I've noticed there are a ton of videos about some small-scale Christmas tree farms, so I'm just kind of absorbing those and learning as much as I can, because for right now it is an experiment kind of for our own personal use, and just learning to see if this is something we'd be able to offer to friends and family afterward. Yeah, so I'll share more next time.